So, funny story. I actually intended on doing a Knuckles Chaotix review about half a year ago. Back when I did my Sonic CD review. I actually recorded all the footage and everything. Why didn't I do it? I just got disinterested in it. Also, the audio recording software I was using at the time kept, I don't know, crashing every single godforsaken time I would go to record the audio, and I got sick of having to re-record it, but I'm actually using different software now, so that shouldn't happen anymore. So I should actually be able to get something done!
Knuckles Chaotix is a noteworthy game for a few reasons. For one, it's the only Sonic spin-off game that features Knuckles in his own game without Sonic or Tails or anything. It's just him and a bunch of new characters. The Chaotix characters. In addition, it also has a unique gameplay style, which 2 characters are under your control, and they're linked through a system of ring chain. It's a concept that I've never really seen in any other game, with the sole exception of Sonic Crackers, which was the Knuckles Chaotix prototype, and it does make Knuckles Chaotix a very interesting game to pick up and play. The problem is that this is also one of the most overlooked Sonic-related games ever made.
Why was it overlooked? Well, that's because Knuckles Chaotix came out exclusively for the Sega 32X, a massive piece of crap that was released as a Sega Genesis add-on, and also released, about a few months before the Sega Saturn was supposed to come out, which made owning an add-on that increased the abilities of the Genesis completely pointless. Yeah, really stupid. And Sega's never re-released the game. You can only find it in a ROM or on the 32X. Why? You know, I really don't know, because Knuckles Chaotix is actually pretty good.
And I'm being quite serious when I say that. It's got a few flaws overall, and I will say it's probably not as polished as a lot of other Sonic games are, but it is a joy to play simply because it's such a unique experience. You can't play anything else remotely like it, and honestly, the chain link thing is kind of a unique concept. What's the point of it? Well, basically, it's to change how you tend to platform around the level. You're controlling 2 characters, and you use the chain, which has elasticity to it, to basically catapult yourself throughout the level. Physics are your prime tool here. Instead of simply jumping around, it's more about planning, and all the levels take that into account, because instead of just running from point A to point B, it's more about exploring, going up and down, and figuring out exactly where to go, making for a really different kind of game. What helps is that every single character has their own unique abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. And that means picking your team is more than just, pick which characters you like the best. Some teams are simply better than others. Some characters you might like better than others because of their unique abilities, and because of their strengths, or because of their weaknesses. It really depends what you're looking for. The only exception to that rule is Charmy. Why? Because Charmy is overpowered as shit.
You know, the really ironic thing about Charmy in this game is that, everyone makes fun of him. You know, everyone's like, oh, he's a really annoying character, I don't like him, blah, 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 he sucks, he's a useless character, you know, etc., etc. Charmy is, by far the most broken character in the whole game. And by broken, I mean he completely destroys the entire game. If you play Charmy, you will beat the game without any issues whatsoever, and I guarantee that. Why?
Well, Charmy's unique ability, other than like everyone else, everyone else has like climb on walls or, dash in the air. Oh, no. Charmy has the ability to fly, and you might be saying, well, Tails had that. That wasn't that broken. Oh, I'll tell you what's broken, though, is the ability to fly indefinitely. Charmy can go anywhere he wants, anytime he wants, with absolutely no restrictions. And this is kind of the first of the problems. The game is just too easy if you pick Charmy. And yes, you could not pick Charmy, and that's fine. But Charmy just makes the game so easy. So really, if you want to get this game done quick, just pick him. You'll win. I think what makes it better is that Charmy's dash also counts as an attack. So not only can he move in any direction he wants, he's also invincible while he's doing it. It's ridiculous! Now's as good a time as any to mention how the graphics of the game are fan-friggin-tastic. The 32X wasn't exactly the best add-on in the world, but it could deliver some pretty awesome 2D visuals, and Knuckles Chaotix shows it off pretty well. It just looks really good. The music is also unique to the game, and fits the style, and I like it. So, no complaints when it comes to presentation overall. The levels, like I said, take into account the new gameplay style, and they're all pretty unique in their own right. Also, the boss fights are some of the most unique boss fights I've ever seen in a Sonic-related title. They really went above and beyond to make some of these boss fights very creative and very original. I've never seen anything else like them, and they're a lot of fun overall. However, this is where I'm going to start getting into complaints, because while I do enjoy Knuckles Chaotix, and I do think that it's a pretty good game in its own right, I do find that it's got a lot of annoying problems that really should have been addressed. My first complaint is how you select your characters and how you select your level. Yes, how you select things. Let me explain. Okay, Knuckles Chaotix has a hub world, and that would be fine, except this is where you select, both your character and your zone, because you have to select which level you're at. You don't go in a certain order, which would be okay if it was just a standard pick the character and then pick the level, but it's not. When you pick your character, you have to use a crane game, and that would be okay, but you have no control over where this crane is going. So you have to time it to when it's set upon one of the characters that you actually want to use. You might wind up choosing Heavy or Bomb, which are not characters that are featured on the title screen for a reason, because they fucking suck. And that's what they're there for. They're there to screw you up and make the next level annoying as shit. You never want to play as these characters, ever. In addition, when you go to select your level, it's a random slot machine type of game. Oh, that's good. That's great. And you might say, oh, that makes every playthrough unique, because you don't know which order you're going to go in terms of the levels, and, that's fine, but really, what was wrong with just letting us select which levels you go to? And I will point this out, one of the final boss fights, uses this machine, because Metal Sonic takes control over it, and you have to use a slot machine to fight him. It's retarded. Another problem is that some of the levels do get too confusing, and yeah, I know I said that they take the whole new gameplay style into account, and it's more about looking around as opposed to other Sonic games where you just run through, and I get that, but some of the late levels get really convoluted. Not just confusing, I mean legitimately convoluted, where trying to figure out where the fuck you're supposed to go is basically impossible, and it drives me up the friggin' wall. Some of these levels take forever just because you get lost, which is something that doesn't happen in other Sonic games, and I know it's a spin-off, and that's fine, but it's still really annoying, and honestly, there's nothing I hate more in a video game than getting lost. I friggin' hate it when that happens, and it happens quite often in Chaotix. However, on top of everything else, the worst goddamn thing about Knuckles Chaotix has got to be the special stages. Oh my heavenly god. These are, without a doubt, the worst fucking special stages in any Sonic-related game ever. Period. And I mean that. Cause there's been bad Sonic special stages, okay. CDs weren't great. Yeah, I'm willing to admit that. And some of the ones for the advanced games were pretty bad too, but these, oh wow. You want to talk about, okay, first of all, just look at them. They don't even look good. Everything except you and a few other minor 2D sprites is a giant polygon. And it's this giant hexagon thing, and you spin around on it, and it's actually a unique idea, but there's a few problems. One, it looks terrible, and the graphics are really, really jittery. You'll notice how towards the bottom sometimes, when the polygon goes off the screen, it'll sometimes disappear too early, and you'll see black. That's not the recording. That's the game. And it does that all the friggin' time. I mean, it doesn't really affect you in the game, but it's still annoying, and shows that these were kind of half-assed overall. In addition, the actual thing you have to do in these stages is really fucking obnoxious. Basically, the idea is to avoid all pitfalls and all traps and collect blue orbs. So, it's kind of a similar concept to the Sonic 3 and Knuckles special stages with the orbs, except that they're not nearly as, contained as they were there. You just have to grab them on your way along. And if you don't get enough of them, you'll end up looping throughout the level. So, I guess you could say it's kind of a combination of Sonic 3 and Knuckles special stages with Sonic 2's. The problem is that you just move too frickin' slowly. The thing is, with this special stage, is that you technically have infinite chances to do it as long as you don't run out of time, and as long as you don't fall into a pit. Now, I will almost guarantee that almost never you'll run out of time. That usually won't happen. What will happen all the time is that you'll fall into a pit because you won't be able to avoid it, whether it be by jumping into it because the graphics tricked you because you couldn't see, or whether it be not being able to avoid it because you can't move quickly enough from side to side. The special stages in this game suck. And you know what makes it better? later on, you have to use the ability to bounce yourself backwards to move along. And considering the camera doesn't turn around or anything, you really can't see what's going on. These suck, okay? They're terrible. And I mean, I guess you can start adapting to them overall, but like, God, you just, oh, wow, they're just so bad. You don't even know the half of it. Alright, I'm sorry. You just, God damn, they suck so hard. Oh yeah, and while I'm mentioning special stages, you're not looking for the 7 Chaos Emeralds in this game. You're looking for the Chaos Rings, cause those are a thing. Great, you don't get to go super or anything like that. It's just, if you get all the Chaos Rings by the end of the game, you get the good ending, and if you don't, you get the bad ending. That's it. What's the difference? Well, in the bad ending, Super Metal Sonic, or Hyper Metal Sonic, whatever the hell this thing is, will, even though you defeat him, he'll still destroy the world because he's super powerful and shit. And if you do have all the Chaos Rings, then you beat him again, and then you get this awesome banner thing where Sonic and Tails are there. And where the fuck have you guys been? You know, I could have used your help, cause you just been flying around all game, just chilling, not even gonna bother helping. That's cool. Thanks a lot. Thanks a fucking lot. Oh, and Hyper Metal Sonic, Super Metal Sonic, whatever the hell he's called, really easy fight. And overall, a really disappointing final boss. As badass as he looks, he's not nearly as hard as some of the regular bosses found throughout the game. So, there's that. But, I'll be honest, I still like Knuckles Chaotix. Yes, it has flaws, but for such an obscure title, and for a game that's so unique, it's really a lot of fun to play. You know, why hasn't Sega re-released the game? I've heard a lot of reasons, but it didn't appear on any of their collections, not even Gem's collection. You'd think, of all the places to put that, you'd put it there, but no, instead, they put Sonic R there, cause that's reasonable. Cause that makes sense, cause Sonic R is a good game. No, why would what? Just, what the you put that and you don't put Chaotix. What for? I just don't get it. I've heard stories that the reason Sega won't do anything with Knuckles Chaotix is that the coding for the game is so unique that transferring it and porting it to anything else is a complete pain in the ass, and they don't want to do it because they're lazy or something. That sounds like a stupid reason. I don't believe that. I just don't get why they just kind of ignored this game, because I think if they re-released it, I think people would be willing to play it. Even if not everyone likes it, because I could see this game not being everyone's cup of tea, I think people would still play it just for curiosity's sake, because you just can't play the game nowadays. There's no way to get it unless you download a ROM, or unless you own a 32X, like me. And if you own a 32X, you're just depressed about it, because it just sits there and stares at you menacingly. Anyway, whatever. I'm done now. Till next time, this is Darkness, and I bid you all a fond farewell.